Hello, welcome to the 12th episode of the strategy game Warring Factions. So in this episode you can see I've got the script I asked for, the multi-fleet commander, thank you Seiko, and I'll show you some more of his scripts later. Here's Thunderdome. You can see I upped my strategy a little bit and I added one high-tech hospital. So I can imagine it's not a very nice place to live. But anyway, I can increase the base population growth, which I'll do later. But for now, I'm just going to take them out as surplus. Then checking up on my other colonies, you can see that they're doing quite well now in general, but there's a couple that are on worlds with low habitability. So their happiness is quite low, and I've had to add quite a few more hospitals to those worlds. I think I have 5 on Celtic. And I chose names from Warhammer 40k from the Necron army because there was 6 worlds and they have 6 dynasties. And I need to learn these names for making Warhammer films anyway. So yeah, the population growth is alright. But you can see the land gain is 143 and the wealth is 560, and so now the technology index is a lot higher than what it would have been had I not used these settings. And you can see I've hired quite a lot, or I can hire quite a lot of scientists now, and I'll go through that in a later video. There's far too much to cover in one video for that. You can see I can sort them by their skills, and that's kind of what I'm going to go by to choose them. Now to grab this Fleet Commander script. It has a lot of instructions which you can read about in the top of it, which you can access through the Grease Monkey button, or whatever, Tapey Monkey, same thing. And I will make an entire video for this one script because there's a lot to it to use it correctly, but I'll have to practice that before I make a video. And we were just chatting about fake news in our forum. And now I'm just looking up the script to make sure that it's in there and it's working, which it is. But you find the script from a different menu, not from the ships themselves. It's in the logistics menu. Alright, it's quite noisy with my audio today. There's some construction going on in the background, some roadworks. So here you can see in the description it tells you to access the controls in the logistics panel. And now you can see there's a new menu added. And you can move multiple ships and set their orders at the same time, which is something that should have been in the core game, but you know, priorities change. So people have thankfully finished off a lot of loose ends like that to make it actually playable on any scale more than skirmishing. So yeah, skirmishing becomes practical rather than who has actually got time to do that. Now my old surveyors are pretty much useless. Their scan range is only 30, but if I compare them to the new surveyors, there's quite a difference. You can see it's 144, so I'm going to be deleting all my old surveyors. Now to start, I just go to the shipyard, and then there's a button called Ship Junkyard. And then you can destroy them all at once if you'd like, but I'm only needing to destroy these, leaving my other colonizers alone. And then my fleets that are out in scan nets, I'll just self-destruct them, but cut out the rest of that. Now I want to make new surveyors, so I'll be going into the ship design menu, and I also need to check out the small engines, and I need to get all this data mostly so I can make a sensor array. So I'm just going to go through the real basic format of that. I need to get the location of where the center of the net is, which is this system. So to get that, I can click on the planet, and while still holding down the mouse button, I can press Ctrl C before I release the left mouse button to copy the information from the temporary scripted. I think it's because he's using a animation in it. It adds some complexity. It used to be in a different format. In the ship design menu, selecting the new hull, I double check the small drive to know that I have the best one available. Using my naming conventions, now I select the range and put that as the limit of my net. Just to give you an example, I'll extend it later. And also I want to test out how well the script deals with putting in this information. But I'll need to refresh the page. And then when I click view, I can see here where I can send multiple fleets out at once. Now the next step is to get the ship design IDs, but to do that I need to create my new fleet. So I want to build 3 of these surveyors. Now you can see here it's going to be impractical to build them on this world, which is going to be the military and industrial world. The amount of time it takes isn't feasible. See, that's 800 hours is the equivalent of like a whole day or day and a half or something. So yeah, I'll use one of my tech colonies to build them. This is a reasonable amount. I've got a few other things to show you while these are being built. Now you can see the wage total increase is practically negligible compared to the vast sums of wages that are being paid at these colonies for the mall workers. What you're actually inputting into these when you add the numbers by typing it out. And this is the number. And a fleet ID number will be a very confusing thing to find at first, especially if you're using a cell phone. Oh yeah, here's me just responding to stuff. So I need to get the script that allows me to conscript or commission those words for many fleets at one time to go along with the script that moves many fleets at once. So this is the multi-fleet builder script. Thanks, Seiko. You see less people are using this than the multi-fleet mover, or have used it. It's a bit of a learning curve. I did make some mistakes, but no, I'm not going to show you. I'm just going to show you the right way to do it, because that's what instruction videos are about. You can make mistakes by yourself. And then I'm going to add the IDs for the design of the hull that I used. When you create a design, it gives it a special ID to let the game know which special combination of statistics it has, along with its. So if you have, when you have fleets, it groups, and when you add those fleets to bigger fleets, thus it still remembers the subgroups in the bigger group. And I'm showing you here. You might have noticed I have my colonies into a different format. And how did I do that? Well, I went to my settings and changed, added those extra groups, and then under the colony I selected a new one in the menu. Sorry, this is a bit jumpy between things, but I'm just narrating on what I recorded while doing stuff in the game. So there's a lot of stuff that adds up. So Shinzon's previously offered me some population, so now that I have Thunderdome under control, I'm going to ask him to send them to the colony, and they will redevelop it into a mining colony. And then I'm going to take those resources into trade stations to give to the rest of my faction so that they can wage war more effectively, because I don't have as much time to put into it as them, so I don't want to dedicate that time right this second. I'm doing something that takes much less effort but is equally as helpful, in other words, which a lot of new players can do. But if you don't do it the right way, it builds itself into a little nightmare, because you need to move resources around, which still requires a reasonable amount of logistics planning. Right, and I'm just building some basics buildings on this Thunderdome now that I'm getting it ready for new people. It's not going to be as primal as it was, but it's still going to be pretty primal. And the main thing about mining colonies is you need to constantly monitor their motivation and get it right with your taxes and wage settings. So you get about, like what it is now is actually the most efficient. You get about 220% motivation, but I can maintain that with extremely low wages because I have a lot of buildings. I will have a lot of mines and a lot of workers. That number quickly increases, so that's why the design is set up to make everything expensive for them so that they're paid nothing in the mining colony. Sounds cruel, doesn't it? That's just logic, I'm sorry to tell you, in a mathematical algorithm. So here I've got the script. I've grabbed the fleet ID. Here, when you click in the top, you can select the very end of the PHP address. I copy and paste that in here, and so I want 3 fleets of this design and their name shouldn't be the Itty Bitty Kitty Committee Fleet, but I'll add my own name called Surveyor Yarnek, which I believe it's a silent J in that name. And then I get to click this 3 times, and then all fleets are created, and then I have 3 fleets. So remember, if you create 400 fleets at once, you're still going to have to click one button 400 times, but you won't have to rename it. And or set the settings for its attack, etc. When you use that other script. But now I add this, and I know because these fleets were created in a scripted one after the other, they're going to have the same fleet ID number, like 99% of the time. So I just add 1 to each number after that, and then grab the fleet name, which is in common. And I believe you can do something with that. I haven't quite looked into all of the settings, but then when you click send, it creates a new page with all of the information already put into the fleet for you to send it, which is very handy. And then this last one. So I don't know why it only created 3 places, and I'm sure in a 3D map it would make more sense when you account for the extra sensor range. But I'm happy with whatever it's done. I'll add more manually to the full extent of the XY axis, because it's only added a variation into the Z axis with the settings I used. But I won't put you through doing that. And as you can see in the 3D star map, the going up and down, one's going higher than the other, so it looks like, but it might not be, it might just be an optical illusion. So I could check actually, but I'm not going to. Then what I did was I accidentally sent the first surveyor to the wrong coordinates to the system entrance, and I want it to go at the star which is in the global coordinates of the system entrance. So I aborted its mission and subtracted 10 and gave it that mission so it would go to the global number of the system. So anyway, checking up Thunderdome, I added the population back that was surplus and disbanded the fleet, a harvester fleet, and now I get to wait to see the outcome of adding them, which you'll see in the next game tick. And using my surveyor and its new location at the system entrance, I can do a manual scan, which is half the range of it being deployed. So I know it's seeing about 33 million kilometres naturally, and it will reach out to perhaps 66 million kilometres when I've set up the listening post. But I still won't see that last 33 in this map. Here's a vector scan, so this gives you a top-down view of where these ships are, which helps if you don't have time to open up the map and you're on a phone or something. And there's extra data you can mess with that, but that's all for this one. Cheers.